Okay, so this is problem number 1. The original amount is 324 people. The new amount is 549 people. So we're taking the formula and we're using the percent of change is equal to new minus original divided by original. So now we're going to go ahead and plug in our numbers. Our new number is 549 minus our original number of 324 divided by our original number of 324. And so remember, you get to use a calculator. So when you take 549 minus 324, you end up with 225 divided by 324. And when you take that and put it into a calculator, you end up with the decimal of 0.69, which you must show or you lose points. And now you're taking that decimal and you're saying, okay, well, that really means it's a 69% increase. And so if you remember, when you have a decimal, to get a percent, you're multiplying by 100. All right, let's do number 2. So number 2 had the amount of original was the 66 cans, and the new is 30 cans. So we're using our formula, the percent of change equals new minus original divided by original. And now we're plugging in our numbers. Our new number was 30 minus our original number of 66 divided by 66. When you subtract 30 from 66, you get negative 36 over 66. So I'm going to finish it. When you plug it into a calculator, you get a negative 5454. Lots of people miss this step. This becomes a rounded decimal of 0.55, which becomes 55%. And that negative means it's a 55% decrease. Okay, and so reminding you that you take a decimal and you multiply it by 100 to get a percent. Okay, you cannot drop the negative sign. But I also really want to point out that lots of you, when you got to this step, you actually had written x over 100 equals negative 36 over 66, and you decided to do that long process of cross products, and you ended up with 66 x equals negative 3600, which is fine, but now you have to divide by 66, and you have bigger numbers to work with, and so you ended up with negative 55, which is fine, but this is the percent already. Okay, because you had it in percent form here. Okay, but this is the long way. It was much faster to simply take my fraction and plug it into a calculator to get a decimal. Way easier, saved myself steps. So you should really think about that. All right, I'm going to look at problem number 3. Number 3 says 58 homes to 152 homes. And so 58 is where we're starting. That means it's the original. And 152 homes is the new. So we're going to take our... Sorry, I'm looking for a color. We're going to take our percent of change formula. New minus original divided by original. And I'm plugging in my numbers. 152 minus 58. Divided by 58. And now I'm doing the math, and when I subtract, I get 94 divided by 58. And notice I'm just plugging it into a calculator. I get 1.62. 1.62, when I multiply it by 100, becomes 162%. So that's an increase of 162%. And now I'm looking at problem number 4, which said $100 to $59. So if this is where we started, this is our original, which makes this our new number. So it's getting less, which means I'm probably going to have a negative. So I have percent equals new minus original divided by original. My new is 59 minus 100 over 100. 59 minus 100 is a negative 41 over 100. And if I plug this into a calculator, I get negative 0.41. If I then multiply this by 100, I end up with a negative 41%. You can also see the percent here. Remember, a percent is any number over 100. So you could have simply written this as negative 41% from this stage. Okay, notice I am working down my paper, not across my paper. Nice and easy steps. Okay, moving on to problem number 5. We have the DVD is $219 and we have a 6.5% tax. So I really am looking at having a DVD player and I'm adding tax to it. So that's an addition of the 6.5% of the DVD player. Okay, so when I turn this into a math sentence, I have the DVD player, which I'm going to call X, plus my 6.5% times my X. Well, 6.5% is really 0.065 times X. And remember, I can add these guys together. I have 1X plus 0.065X gives me 1.065X. And now I can say, okay, I'm taking my 1.065 and I'm multiplying it by that cost of that DVD player. And when I do that, I end up with $233.24. And that's how much I'm going to end up paying at the store because I have to buy the DVD player and then I have to pay tax on the DVD player. Okay, looking at the next problem, I have number 6. There are jeans and they are $40 and I'm getting a 15% discount. So when I have this, I'm looking at my jeans. And the discount means I'm not going to pay that full amount. That means I'm subtracting 15% of the cost of the jeans. So if I write this as a math equation, I could say jeans minus 15% of the jeans. Okay, so I would have jeans minus 0.15 because that's the percent as a decimal. So I do have that capability of saying, hey, I could subtract now. So I can either plug it in and I can say my jeans are $40 minus 0.15 times $40. And when I do the math, I'm doing 0.15 times 40, which is 6. When I subtract, I get $36. And that's the amount that I'm going to pay for the jeans after the 15% discount because $6 is the discount. Or I can come back over here and I can say I'm going to combine my like terms. And 1 minus 0.15 is really 85. So I really have 0.85 times jeans. So I can take that 85 and I can multiply it by the $40 jeans. And 0.85 times $40 is $34. And I just realized I subtracted wrong over here. 40 minus 6 is 34. Okay, so you can do it either way. Let's look at our next problem. Number 7 says the book is $19.95 and it's 5% off. So I'm taking my book and I'm taking away 5% of that book. So when I write this as an equation, I have B minus 0.05B. Okay, and so my B is $19.95 minus 0.05 times the $19.95. So $19.95 minus $1, because this math right here ended up giving you a decimal, and this rounds to $1. So now $19.95 minus $1, leaves me with $18.95, and that's how much I'm going to pay for my book. So for number 8, we have tickets that cost $52.50 each, and there is a 7% markup, which means that we're going to pay more than $52.50. So I have my ticket, and then I'm marking it up, so it's adding the 0.07 because that's what 7% is. So if I write this as an equation, I have t plus 0.07t. This guy's super easy to combine like terms and say I have 1t plus 0.07t and write it like this. And now all I have to do is plug in the $52.50. And when I multiply this, I'm going to end up getting $56.18 when I round. Don't forget to round correctly. Okay, let's look at the last two, which lots of people struggled with. Number 9 says that the game is 55% off, and the new price is $29.99. And it says what was the original price. So I'm solving for the original price. So I'm going to write my formula, and my formula is percent of change equals new minus original divided by original. And I knew to use this because it had a percent, it had a new number, and it had an original number. The problem is we don't know our original number. So I do know my percent. My percent is 55% off. And 55% is written as a negative 55 because this is 55% off. That's a discount, and a discount is negative. And it's going to equal our new number of $29.99 minus my original number. I'm going to make it nice and dark. Over my original number. Okay? That's not a 0. That's the original. Okay? So now we're going to solve. And the problem is that we have a fraction with a variable in it, an x. Okay, I'm going to change this guy to an x so you can more clearly see it. So that means I need to get it out of the fraction. So I'm going to use cross products and multiply to get it alone. So I end up with negative 0.55 times that x, or it's really the original number. And then 1 times all of this stuff is 29.99 minus x. Okay, well, I've got these x's now, and I've got to combine my like terms. So I need to add an x to both sides. And so I have a negative 0.55x and a 1x. And when you add those together, you end up with 0.45x equals 29.99. And now I need to divide to get my x all alone. And so my answer becomes x equals 66.64, which is money. And that is the original price of the game after you take a 55% discount. And the last guy, you had 350 students last year, so that's probably your original number. The number increased 15%, and they're looking for the new number. So we're going to write our formula. And my percent is 15%, and it's an increase, and percent is written as a decimal. I don't know my new, but I do know my original. And so now I'm going to use cross products again to get rid of my denominator because I need my n all alone. So 350 times 0.15 is 5250. And then 1 times all of this stuff is n minus 350. And now I can see that I need to get this n all by himself. So I need to move my 350. And when you add these guys together, you end up with 402.5. Well, you can't have half of a student. So we would say that this is 403 students. Okay, there is another way to do this. You could say that you had 350 kids and you're adding 15% of that 350. These are students, and you're adding 15% of students. So you could write it as 350 plus 0.15 of 350. And so 350 plus, and when you do the math on the 15% times 350, you get 52.5. And when you add that to 350, you get 402.5. And again, can't have half of a kid, so you would say 403 students. All right, make sure you show all your steps for all 10 problems.